Hello! This basically is the first video I've ever done on a webcam, so go me. Really, this is more of a response, I suppose. It is a video response in a way. A chap called Sean Long recently posted a video asking, basically just to talk about collectors and why do we collect. And after watching a response by Kal-El Prime, I thought, well, to be honest, I hadn't thought about this before, but I do actually collect. I've collected for quite a while. Well, a couple of years, if that makes you a collector, I don't know. But so what I collect, in actual fact, and yeah, this really makes me a geeky nerd. What I collect are role-playing books, and I don't mean sort of sexual black escapades of the dominatrix in the bedroom. Nothing like that. These I am talking about, of course, things like Dungeons and Dragons, the old the old staples, that sort of thing, and new things besides. And what I'm not really talking to you today about why I collect. I'm sort of giving you an introduction to my views on role-playing itself. And these aren't sort of the views of role-players role-played for years and years. I suppose you could call me a bit of a novice, right? But Maybe say I've been role-playing about 2 years, but a bit on and off. So I've had some experience, not very much, but a common misconception of role-playing, I think, and this is something I like to clear up, and it's what I'm going to take the time to do in this first thing, rather than do a full-blown introduction of why I do it and all this stuff. As I think a lot of people, when we talk about role-playing, we talk about role-playing as a bunch of geeks with pencils and paper rolling dice on a table, right? No, that's not role-playing. Well, role-playing involves a bunch of geeks around a table with pencils and dice, but whatever. No, the whole point about role-playing, at its core, at its finest aspect of what it actually is, it's acting. It's you fulfilling a role that you couldn't otherwise fulfill in real life. I think this is the scope that gets people here. Is like, this just seems stupid, but it's like another. In some ways, it's like another form of escapism. You watch soaps, you play games. I roleplay. So that's really, it's about acting. It's about acting as somebody else who can act a completely different personality, even a different fantasy, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's role-playing. That's what it is. The dice are only there to simulate what you can't. And by that, what do I mean? I mean, for instance, if your character, he's a driver, right? He can drive a car. Who cares? This is a very simple analogy, so, And for a fact that if it's clear weather, he could drive that car, no problem. But now, if you factor in the fact that you're trying to maybe make a supreme getaway chase in rush hour traffic down the wrong, going the wrong way down a motorway, yeah, well, in that case, I would probably be absolutely stuffed because I don't drive. But my character might be able to, and that's where you roll the dice, because the dice represent an element of chance and skill that you otherwise can't just say, yeah, he makes it. That's no fun. I mean, where the hell's the fun in that? Somebody else might be chasing you and they say, yeah, well, he makes it, but I catch up. And it's like it devolves into some sort of rudimentary game of cops and robbers that, used to play when you were a kid, when you always be in the playground having arguments about who shot who, if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, this phenomenon basically evolved from tabletop strategy war games, in a time before video games, that mystical era. So, essentially what it was a bunch of geeks, stroke nerds, whatever you want to call them, saying, well, wouldn't this be fun if we could put the battles into context? And that was basically where Dungeons and Dragons came about, because at the very first time, I mean, it was a bunch of models and some enemies on a board, and they were just having a battle royale, a bit of a rook. So I think eventually one of the guys just said, well, actually, wouldn't this be great if we could start actually go out into a make-believe world and actually have adventures and persistently allow our characters to grow in their personality, what they do, get loot. Mainly get loot. if you ask any roleplayer, that's what they want to do. They want to get loot, so you know it's good. But yeah, so that is role-playing. Role-playing is not the act of rolling dice or being nerdy. It is actually physically acting as another entity, person, being, whatever. You can be anything. I mean, you could be a god. You could be a snarling wolf person if that, you know, sort of furriness is your thing. And actually interacting in a world that you make personal to yourself. You make the world your own. And that's the bit that really appeals to me, is that the fact that you are creating a new universe. To me, it's like the outlet for my creative tendencies. I really enjoy creating lore. I really enjoy imagining how an interaction would work. I really, really enjoy sort of sitting down with a group of friends, which I do on a regular basis, and acting this stuff out, right? That's what it's all about. It's about a social interaction between friends and acting out different aspects of your personality or conjuring up new ones. And I think a lot of people sneer at role-playing simply because, I mean, it does have a very bad press for nerds. I mean, you know, the common sort of stereotype for nerds is a load of people bunching around a desk in university. You know, the ones that are basically socially outcast. You know, forming their own little group and actually sort of playing with bits of paper. So, I mean, like I said, you make of it what you want to make of it. Well, let me be the first to say right here that, yes, in this analogy, Christian Bale's a nerd. No questions asked. I'm sorry. Every actor that's ever been is a nerd. That is what a nerd is an actor. Yeah. Well, in this case, anyway. So, anyway, yeah, this has been my very first video on YouTube, or anywhere, for that matter. And I hope you enjoyed it, really. I've just had some good fun making it, so I will. So let me know what you think, right? I mean, if you have the misfortune to watch this all the way through and think it's a complete load of rubbish, or crap, or whatever, garbage, whatever you want to call it, then let me know. You know, I'm not tender, I can take it. Otherwise, if you have watched it this far, hopefully, you know, you have watched it this far because you have enjoyed it. And that means a lot to me, if you can appreciate where I'm coming from and you have actually sort of, you know, and this really has, you know, appealed to you on some level. So, yeah, I do intend at some point to basically do an overview of each of the systems I own. I might reference some of the systems I don't own, in which case I've probably not played them a lot. So this will be sort of a novice role-player's perspective on role-playing. And at some point, very soon, in fact, I probably will answer the question of why do I collect. So, yeah, so I'll do an overview of the systems, what each contains, what you can expect in each, the sort of setting, you know, sort of give you a taste of whether or not you might enjoy it, really. And I'll also go through maybe some of the books I own when I can be bothered to read through them thoroughly to give you an accurate representation. Because basically I skim them just to find what I need. But yeah, anyway, so this has been me, Chromemagnus, and until I do my next video, I'll catch you guys later. Cheers for watching.